Hey everybody, Mike Copera with podcastcondition.com bringing you episode 116 of What You Drinking. Dan is grabbing his beer and coming back here. What's up, Dan?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good. Man, it's cold in this room. Bring down the sleeves. All right. It's finally Wednesday. So we decided to do another wild card episode.
Yep.
And I know I've got my beer, and I'm excited to open this to answer some questions. What do you have?
I have, because this still kind of disappointed me last week. So I'm going to it again, but I'm getting Das Vidania, which was the big winner at FOVAB this year. So this one has been around since 2014. I'm curious to see what it tastes like. So, what you drinking?
I'm also curious to see what mine tastes like. Mine has been rumored to possibly have some issues going on with this. So I'm going to get some answers onto whether one of my bottles has the, I guess it's a lactobacillus issue that Goose Island won't use the word infected. So I don't want to say it's infected, but it's... If you want to say there's lactobacillus in there, I don't know how else to word that got in there, other than the fact that they didn't put it in there intentionally.
Right.
So this, for anyone who's not familiar with the label, this is the 2015, so the most recent release of the Bourbon County Coffee Stout, and this is the one that's made with Intelligentsia Los Delirios coffee beans. And this one's 12.4%, bottled on September 17th of last year. So I've seen pictures or videos on Instagram of bottles being opened and just like bubbles just coming up to the top of the bottle.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. So I've got I had it pulled up here a second ago. It's the Goose Island announcement, or the blog post, saying it has come to our attention that since bottling the 2015 Bourbon County coffee and the Bourbon County barley wine, they have developed flavors that are not consistent with our expectation of how these beers should taste. That's not to say the beer doesn't taste good. In fact, some drinkers may enjoy it very much.
Oh, God, that is just...
I love how they say that.
Keep going.
It's just kind of funny. However, it doesn't meet our standards for the taste profile of these beers. All of our beer goes through a very thorough quality oversight process, including sensory microbiology programs. This by no means is a guarantee of success, especially with barrel-aged beers. Both of these beers have drifted out of their target character, thus leading us to provide refunds for anyone who is unsatisfied with them. Anyone who would like a refund for 2015 Bourbon County coffee or Bourbon County barley wine, please contact us at 1-800-GOOSE-ME. So, it happens. No big deal, I guess. It's the gamble. You make a beer and it sits that long. You never know what can happen. So,
well, and to their credit, it sounds like they're trying to make good on it.
Yeah.
So if they were coming out and saying, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. If they were coming out of it and saying, but it by no means tastes horrible, so we hope that you enjoy the product and we'll wait, for maybe a better news next year or something like that, I would have been a little angry. Well, I mean, it didn't fizz up on you. Well,
it did not. Let's see
how it gets.
The initial smell, I was all coffee, so... But I am smelling a little tartness. I'm hoping it's just in my head.
Okay.
What's going on, Jean-Pierre?
Hey guys, how are y'all? Y'all
good?
What do y'all? I forgot what we were supposed to be drinking this week.
Oh, it's wild card. Wild card.
Okay.
Bring it. Whatever you got is good.
I got La Bête Bleue. Sampling some of this right now. A little imported. Of course, I've had this before several years back. It's been a while since I had this, so eating this while I'm eating my dinner finally now.
Oh, man.
But that's pretty much it. How much else?
Nice. Yeah, I shoveled my dinner in like literally minutes before the show started.
Oh man,
We were running late.
brutal.
Dan, go ahead and tell them what you brought, and I'll.
Well, I've got the this year's Big Fobab winner, Das Vidanya. It's a barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stout coming in at 12.5%. This
Most
one's a
of them
year
tend to
old.
be. I'm sorry, Dan. Most of them tend to be between 10 and 12, right? Most of those stouts, Russian Imperials.
Well, I mean, they started about 9 and then go up from there. So you will occasionally see some that are clocking in above. I mean, like Bourbon County Stout, I think is coming in around 15 at times, and they're bigger ones yet. So yeah, I figure to start around 9 and go up from there.
Okay.
So this one is definitely, it's got a bit of alcohol in it, but it's smelling great. I mean, the year has not done any bad things to it, and I have yet to sip, but it's a little cold yet, so I'm trying to let it warm up a little bit.
Right.
So,
Perfect beer for this time of year.
yes, it is, especially the weather we're having here, because it is frosty.
Yeah, it's been cold here. We've been in the 20s at nighttime here, down here in Mobile. So
Okay.
tonight's supposed to be in the 40s. So yeah, that's I always say stouts are a perfect beer to have this time of year.
Let's see what we're down
Speaking
to.
of,
Yeah.
got myself a little Bourbon County coffee stout from this year. This has definitely got a little lacto in it.
Man.
No, it's not bad.
Right.
It's got plenty of coffee in there. Kind of. I don't want to agree with their blog post and say some people like it, but
right.
Yeah.
It's got a little tartness. It has it gives the beer a lot of a sharp bite to it in the back of the tongue, rather than just a smooth, creamy stout that you're. I just saw a shirt fly across the room and land. That was awesome.
Yes, my beloved just threw the jacket at me. Love you, David.
Must be cold. She loves you. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering if all the bottled ones ended up like this, because I remember a lot of people saying that the coffee was the best before it got released on Black Friday. All of the kegged versions that I have heard about that were released, like at Rare Day and all that stuff. Everyone got to try the variants, and I heard nothing but good stuff about the coffee. And I'm wondering if it's because those were safe as opposed to the bottled ones. I don't know.
It could have just been that it hadn't been sitting around long enough for the lactobacillus to propagate to the point where you could taste it.
Yeah.
It might have just taken some time. And that was weird, too, because at Fobab I had the barley wine, and there was nothing funky. I actually just had it at Firkin, I think I was saying last week, 3 weeks back. It was fine. And I cracked open a regular Bourbon County probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and that was fine. So, but it doesn't sound like that's what was affected. So.
No, it was the barley wine and the coffee, I think, are the only two variants that they're saying.
When I come back around to Mama house, you better be.
Which sucks because I got 2 coffees and I think like 2 or 3 barley wines in my closet now. You were going to take one of them. I don't know if you still wanted it, but...
Oh, yeah, I mean, I convinced you to get it, so I won't leave you hanging on that.
I'm happy to hang on to it. If you don't want it, especially since it's rumored to be infected, I'd be happy to.
Guys, the Bourbon County. The Bourbon County, is it? Did they ever the KBS? Last we were talking about that. Did they ever what was the resolution to that? It was just one of those things. It was just a bad batch, or.
So that's what we're talking about here. This is one of the ones. This is the one that's rumored to have a little bit of an infection of lactobacillus in it, which gives it a little bit of a sour, tart edge to it, and that's what I'm tasting here. That's why I opened it, because we were talking about it last week.
Oh, I see you got the carbon 4 glass going too.
Oh yeah,
Very nice.
this is like almost one of my favorite glasses now that I've got. It's I drink pretty much any style in it. It's pretty good for anything.
Yeah. I actually just had carbon 4. I had the Fantasy Factory again over the weekend because I was up at a. Well, we can get to stories later on, but
No, where'd you get it?
Well, there was a homebrew competition up in Racine. The Bell City homebrewers up there have a winter warmer competition, and it was at a little bar and grill called Pepe's down in the middle of the city, and they had, I was stewarding, so I wasn't sampling the beers. But about lunchtime, I decided to get one, and I saw that they had Fantasy Factory on tap, and I was like, you know what? I am guessing that the last one I got was just from a bad batch, and sure enough, this one tasted awesome.
You didn't like it before?
Well, it wasn't that I didn't like it. It was that it was okay, but there was definitely a problem with the fermentation of that batch because it was a buttery taste to it. It's diacetyl, and it's a sometimes it'll happen. I think if you're if your temperature is off in fermentation, and I think they're a small enough outfit that if something's just a little bit off, they're going to release it anyway, and their consistency probably isn't 100% yet. So. But that was a good beer.
First I've ever heard that, because everything else has been top notch with them, as far as I've been told by any friends who have visited them and anyone who's just gotten their beers within the state of Wisconsin.
Right.
Guys, the craft brewery scene up there in the Midwest, is it pretty big compared to other cities like the Northeast or out west? Is it pretty big up there?
I mean, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty solid for a while now, but in the past, I'd say 5 years or so, it's kind of exploded, and
Right.
There's kind of more breweries, at least in Chicago alone, that I can even keep track of. There's so many new ones popping up all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing here down in Mobile. So go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, and I was just going to say, in the Midwest, it kind of varies too. Like Illinois, for a long time, really was playing catch up, and when compared to say in Michigan, which really kind of got early in on the movement, they've got a lot more breweries than we probably do. And Wisconsin is about even, or maybe a little bit more than us. But yeah, I mean, it's really very much state to state. It depends on who happened to get in early on, pretty much.
Well, I mean, you've got your cities like Portland and
Right.
a lot of the West Coast, parts of California. They've been doing this for a while now, and they've kind of got an edge. That's why, I mean, they destroyed a GABF this year, and they they always pretty much place a lot because, I mean, their beers are good. There's nothing you can get past it. It's cool though that how there's different styles of, there's so many IPAs out there. Everyone's got to have an IPA if you're gonna start a brewery, because I mean that's pretty much one of the most popular styles.
Or a root beer.
Yeah,
No, that is not beer.
Exactly.
But you've got your West Coast style IPA, which is your citrusy, more of fruity kind of your IPAs, and then you've got the East Coast, which is kind of, I don't know, a little bit more malty, backbone of malt, in there, and then I think the Midwest has a pretty good style of their own. I think it's a good mix. There's a lot of good malt backbone too there, but there's a mix of piney hops mixed with some citrusy and fruity hops in there too. So we're kind of all over the place, and it's kind of cool that you can get a different style of the same kind of beer from different regions. Because you got, I mean, Michigan alone, like Dan, you mentioned Michigan with all the breweries they've got. There's species of hops that are being grown there that are not available anywhere else. Same goes with Oregon or New York. Those areas
Washington.
are, yeah, those are the areas that a lot of hops are grown there too. But they're indigenous to those areas, and it's all unique to those regions of the country. So it's cool. You've got different stuff available all over the place. So so you mentioned it's pretty popular there in Mobile. How many? I mean, do you have any idea how many breweries are open there now, or?
Right now, we only have the closest one to us is Fairhope Brewery, and I have a beer in the fridge which I was going to try tonight, and but like I said, I figured with the wings, what I'm eating, the wings, I figured the Labette would be perfect for it. But there's a Judge Joe Bean a coffee stout that they put out, I think recently, by Fairhope Brewery, and that brewery's been in business since 2010, 2012, I believe, around that time. It's like right after 2009 when, the state finally, where you could start selling beer and brewing beer that was over 6% ABV. So that's the closest brewery that we have. But overall in the state, since that time, we have at least about, I would say, 20 breweries. And of those 20, about 7 of those beers are sold now, pretty much everywhere in the state, including here in Mobile, here in the city of Mobile. So the state is starting to kind of become very well known for some of their craft beers now. Are some of the beers everywhere? Unfortunately, they're not only available here in the state, but as laws starting to become somewhat lax, and as some of the legislators in the state house of Montgomery are starting to kind of say, all right, now I understand what you guys are trying to do here. Because before there was one legislator that said, hey, what's wrong with the beer that we have here? What's wrong with Budweiser? What's wrong with Bud Light? Well, nothing wrong with it, but we like to try something a little better.
Or at least different.
Exactly. Than just the standard thing that was being sold in the store. So,
are growlers legal in your state?
Yes, we got growlers legal in the state. Yes, they are. They're legal. Yeah. So we have a lot of guys who come, who go to a lot of the stores that do a lot of craft beers, and that do have a lot of things on tap where they can bring their growlers in and fill them up. I think here in the city alone, Mobile, I think we have about 5 that you can do that. And now if you want to look overall in the state, I know Spanish Fort, or across the bay in Baldwin County, we have about like maybe 7 places you can bring your growlers. And that part of the state of Baldwin County, you got Daphne, Spanish Fort, Loxley, and Robertsdale. Big area. Love craft beers. They love it. And so you can bring your growlers, fill up on whatever you want, and then do what you got to do. So.
Now, how long have you been down there? Because you said you were in New Jersey before, right?
Yeah, I lived in New Jersey since I moved down here back in 2006. So this year will be 10 years.
Oh wow.
And, so at that time, obviously where I'm from, and of course you guys know, the craft beer explosion kind of really took off in the mid 90s, and I was all into that. If you want to go farther than that, in the mid 80s, but so when I came down here, they had some of those breweries here, but they couldn't. They were making beers, but again, the beers had to be under 6% ABV.
Right.
So you had the craft breweries all going on, but everything had to stay under a certain level. So once that law was passed in 2009, then now you can do whatever you want to do. And then, of course, a lot of these breweries started popping up where they can brew the beer and have a restaurant and do whatever. So.
Okay.
Yeah, to kind of tag on something that you were asking about last week, actually, about some of the breweries in Chicago that are like restaurants and breweries. Just after our show last week, it was announced that one of my new favorite, one of my favorites in Chicago, Half Acre.
Finally,
they're opening a kitchen in both of their locations. So I was just there on Saturday. And got a growler filled with some Space IPA, which is awesome, and you can only get it at that location, so I decided to fill a growler for that. But I also got a bomber of the Lychee IPA, which is like a collaboration that they did with Upland Brewing, I think out of Indiana. And
Okay.
it was good. If you're in the city, Dan, I don't know if you could find it anywhere else. It's probably just released at the tap room or the store there, but it's pretty solid beer. But they are opening a kitchen, and their menu looks interesting. I assume it's open now at this point because I saw some posts on Facebook of people eating there, and it was the one of the chief members of the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, Justin Maynard. He was posting pictures of some of the food he was eating and pictures of the menu. So I assume that it's up and running now, because I asked him about it when I was there getting the beer, and it wasn't open yet, but he was like, it's pretty much any day now. So they took a little bit of the space that they got opened up now that they opened the brewery on maybe like a mile or two away north of their original location, where they've got much more space to brew it. They're actually brewing there anyways right now, but now that they've got a little bit more open space at the original location, they made it some kitchen space so they can serve some food that they make there.
Seating space might be nice too.
They moved. They moved their seating around a little bit. He said too. I didn't get to go in there and see it, but they said that they moved some of the chairs up.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? It's the city, dude. You can't you're kind of cramming. They're using their space pretty well, and that as much as they've got there, I don't really know what else to do. The only thing that I would really harp about is, and I don't want to use that word, but anything that I would say negative about that tap room is just the fact that you can't move the chairs and tables there. They're bolted to the floor, so that's the only. That's the only thing that I've heard anyone complain about. I usually don't complain about it much, so I love that place. So whatever. But yeah, so they're serving food there now, so I'm interested in checking that out. Rather than eating there, since they didn't serve food at the time, we went across the street to the Bad Apple and had ourselves some lunch with a couple friends that met us up there. So. It was a very good meal and very good beers there. They had the big hugs on the menu, but it was tapped out by the time I got there.
Mike, guys, Dan, we have, just harp on what we said, we had a brewery here called Hurricane Brewery. It was a restaurant. They sold beers, but none of the beers were out. You can buy publicly. Whatever, but. It was a success when it opened up. I believe was late 2006, early 2007, and for some reason the brewery just closed. And it had been open before under another name. I'm not sure what it was, but now this week they're thinking about. News came out that they're trying to open up a brewery, and the spot they're looking at is a very busy intersection. Is not near the entertainment district here in Mobile, which is Dauphin Street, where is a lot of bars, or in the surrounding areas, where it's all within walking distance. This one is in a very busy section, Government Boulevard or Government Street, which is Highway 90, if you're coming through there. But the spot they're going to build is going to be an old auto repair shop. And my thing is, yeah, I know. My thing of it is it's going to be a brewery and a restaurant. My thing of it is, okay, we had a brewery, and I want to support it, but we had a brewery here. Why did it not, get supported by the folks here? And I'm hoping it's a success, because you have a lot of people who sampled a lot of beers from your part. Obviously, Goose Island's been bought up by Anheuser-Busch InBev, but from different. We have a lot of the restaurants I go to down on Dauphin Street. A lot of craft beers. A lot of different styles of beers. That some of the stuff that you guys are drinking tonight, they have them in fridges or maybe in kegs or whatever, and they'll drink them. But when you have a brewery there, and I'm asking myself, okay, you want it to be a success, but go out, support it, because you love the beers, but go Go to those restaurants.
Right.
Support it. Go. Establish those places if you want something like that. Because, like I said, I even North Carolina when I go to several craft beers. I mean, these breweries and restaurants doing banging business. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is as small as Mobile. You go. I'm going down Tampa. If I go down to someplace maybe in Athens, Georgia, slam. It's just as small as this city, and I'm just kind of hoping that if this thing comes through, I'm wanting it to be let go out there, support it, and
So the place that failed, had you been there before?
I've only been there one time, and I enjoyed it. But every time I wanted to go, I always had to work, unfortunately. But I've been there maybe just once or twice. It was good, and they had a porter there I really liked. But and I would always get that several times. But the now load up beer garden, which has I think about 110 beers on tap. I go there quite a bit, and I go to Montego Bays. They have tons of stuff on draft from of different craft beers. So those are the spots I tend to go to. But like I said, when Hurricane Brewing was there, I went there. I enjoyed the spot. I would frequent it. Like I said, I only went there twice. I thought it was a good spot, but for some reason, bam, it closed within 3 years. So.
No, I mean sometimes that just comes down to the legal environment.
Right.
Like maybe they got hassle from an alderman or something like that, and or people complained about, no, there's a brewery in our neighborhood. It's bringing in the bad element. Even though it's been pretty well demonstrated that the exact opposite happens 99% of the time. So yeah, it may not be that it just wasn't getting supported, it wasn't getting supported, but not by the patrons, but by the city instead.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to say unless you get the full story, which sometimes you never do.
Right. Politics is always, So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just I'm seeing if there's anything on the internet about it. It says Mobile's Hurricane Brewing Company closes doors, but maybe not forever. When is this written? This is 6 years ago, though. So how long ago did this?
So 6 years ago. That'd be 2000 and
No, 2010 now.
Yeah.
Let's see. If there's any reason why. It looks like the place was kind of cool looking too. The bar looks nice.
Right.
Lease the building, closed for now.
And then they put a place called Cabo Wabo, which was a Mexican restaurant, and then it changed and became just a typical bar food, and then now you got Montego Bay has taken over that spot, which is there's a lot of Caribbean fare, but mostly standard, pub food.
Okay. Now it sounds like it might just be a tough spot to open up a place too. I mean, it's been going through them.
Yeah.
So.
And it also could come down. I mean, because I was asking if you like the beers. You mentioned the porter was pretty good, but as far as the other beers go, I mean, it's good to support your local brewery, but if it's not good beer, then that could be a reason why people didn't go there. I'm not saying that's the case with this place because it sounds like they just kind of closed without notice. I don't know. It was weird. Can't really get a reason out of the article I found, but let's see. Yelp had 3 stars on it, so I don't know. Anyways, but it could come down. It's the fact that you guys have a place that's opening up with an auto garage is kind of a cool idea because especially. Yeah. What do the temperatures get by you like in the wintertime, like around now? What is it?
Right now, like I said, tonight it's supposed to be in the 40s, but like I said earlier this week, it was in the 20s at nighttime. During the day, I would say now it's in the 50s. Warm up like 57, 56, about the average temperature. As we get into.
Are you bundling up or are you actually wearing shorts?
Right now, sometimes get up in the morning, just kind of do some things around the yard. I'll have my shorts on, and it'll be like in the 30s or 40s. Say, hey, this ain't bad, You know,
Yeah,
so
it's funny here in Chicago in the end of the summer into the fall, we're in hoodies and jackets pretty early on. But when it's as cold as it is here now, and then spring hits and we get into the 40s and 50s, we're finding any excuse we can just to put on shorts and walk around with anything on but a winter coat. So, but yeah, there's a place in Chicago, in like the Bucktown neighborhood. It's not a brewery, but it's like a taco joint. But it used to be an old auto shop, and they use the old doors that slide up, like the garage doors. And I think that is such a cool thing to have, especially if you're in a climate that's not, super cold all the time. You can use those, all year round if you're like in California or
right.
Florida or something like that. But
Hey, does Break Room have that? Because we're doing the beer bus this weekend, and so I was setting things up with the bus company, and I had to look up addresses, and I saw a photo of Break Room, and it looked like there was one of those garage doors on the front of it, but I didn't know if that was for the main entrance or is that was like their service
that
area.
might be because when you go there, you'll see straight to the back of the place, it is connected with like a wood shop kind of a deal, which is, I guess, the initial business that the owners worked on. There was a show on Discovery, I think it was, like bar, something to do with like building the bars within the place. Because if you go into Break Room, the bar is just beautiful. It's crafted amazingly. It's just gorgeous, and you can see in the window into the wood area, and that might be the sliding door that you're talking about. But
Okay.
I don't recall the front windows being like garage door style. I remember walking in. We went like in March though. It was like March, April-ish last year, so it wasn't really warm enough to open anything. So if they were there, they weren't open, and I just didn't notice. But I know the door that we initially walked in isn't anything like that. It was, a regular door.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that we're not going to be seeing any open garage doors in January. It's not. No. But no, what we're doing. What else are we doing? Oh yeah, there's one of the other places we're hitting is Mad Mouse, which is interesting because I was looking it up and figure out. Get the bus, the address, and everything for the driver, and it didn't actually come up as Mad Mouse. It came up as Moxie's and Mad Mouse.
See, I've heard of Moxie, but I've never heard of Mad Mouse.
Yeah, it's I'm curious to see if it's a separate operation or if it's sort of their brewing arm of Moxie's now.
This is the bubbliest.
Oh man, yeah.
This is the bubbliest Bourbon County I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's definitely not the sound of a normal Bourbon County stout.
Can you hear that? Because I can't hear it.
Yeah. It sounded like Snap, Crackle, and Pop for a second there. It's like Rice Krispies sound.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely not like a drain pour. It's just not what it should be. It's definitely really boozy. Oh, what do you got there?
That's the beer I was telling you about, the Judge Corey Bean Coffee Stout by Fairhill Brewery.
Nice.
I don't know what the ABV it is, but I'm out to... Okay. The ABV is 5.1. So...
Okay.
Might be a little light, but let me go ahead and try and sample.
Yeah,
I need a can opener. Hold on.
Nice. Yeah, so what other... breweries are you going on that? Because I was really excited to be going on that because remember I asked if my wife could go too, and
coffee stout. So
that was just before we had relatives come and planned in their flights, and we can't really tell them when to come.
Exactly. No, let's see. Where else are we going? So we're starting at Haymarket. Then we're going to what's next? I think Motor Row Brewing. So these are a lot of them that I have not been to any of them. I don't think I've had any beer from maybe any of them except maybe at a random festival.
I've never heard of two of them so far.
Yeah, All Rise is the next one. You probably never heard of. You do know those. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's Haymarket, Motor Row. All Rise, Mad Mouse, and then ending at Break Room.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's
Going to 5 places.
yeah, basically,
Okay.
yeah, it's good, and it's a 5-hour chartered bus, so it's going to be kind of tight, I think. But we'll have enough for an hour or so at each place, something like that.
That's cool. That's enough time to do some sampling, maybe do a flight at each place.
Mm-hmm. Maybe talk to the because it sounds like at least a couple of the places. I'm not sure if it's all of them or not, but we're gonna have FaceTime with the breweries or the brewers, so that should be cool. And not like doing tour because we know the 4 ingredients of beer and those are fermenters and.
It's still I still like going on tours, even though that stuff. It's
Where's the nearest two guys out of your where's the of the big breweries? Where's the nearest one for you guys?
Oh, you mean like an Anheuser-Busch big or?
Well, I mean, I guess you just mentioned the guy. You just mentioned 5, right? You're gonna go tour, right?
Right.
I'd say the biggest in Chicago. Biggest in Chicago right now.
Maybe Anheuser-Busch or maybe maybe Goose Island. Is Goose Island still made in Chicago?
Yeah, some of it, but that's not the biggest.
Okay.
Lagunitas is probably the biggest now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Revolution is close.
Yeah, Revolution. I mean, they're not really. I wouldn't consider them close, but I think they're like the second largest.
Mm.
I don't think they're really too close to Lagunitas. That place is just gigantic. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's. I mean, they have. At least when I was there, and I was there on a day that it wasn't open, but you could still walk in and like walk along the glass to look inside, and it's like an airport hangar in there, and half of it was not even filled yet with tanks or any equipment. It was so empty, and it's just ginormous. And they're I mean, I want to go there one of these days that they're open just to kind of experience it, because I love the one in California. I've been there probably about 2 or 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got the best beer garden. It's just amazing. And
I love their Imperial Stout. I think that's
too.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've got one of those from last year in the closet. I should open up one of these days.
Yes.
Yeah, those are probably the bigger ones. I mean, Half Acres. When you say big, I'm thinking you're talking about size, but in terms of like popularity, I think Revolution, Goose Island, and Half Acre are probably the top 3 that pop into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
y'all do tastings and everything and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Cool.
And I mean up here, Tight Ed is probably the biggest, and they're a full production brewery with a tap room, so they're probably the closest to that kind of brewery, like a Half Acre or something. They're going through an expansion now, so I don't know where that puts them in terms of total production annually, but
Wild Onion's probably the closest to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, and you've got Microphone coming in too, right?
Yeah, but they're not there yet, I don't think.
Yeah. Nah, they're in the process.
Yeah, that's going to be Elk Grove Village.
Mm-hmm. Actually, they made it into one of the top 33 best new breweries in Beer Advocate. That was kind of cool.
And I don't argue with it. Everything I've ever had from them is phenomenal, like phenomenal. And I love their beer names, and their beer labels are all like music, inspired. There's a lot of cool labels. We saw them at Beer Under Glass last year, and their taps were like a big boom box with taps on them.
That's awesome.
They're just it was either a boom box or a guitar amp.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it was awesome. So yeah, I think they share space with Slapshot.
No, not anymore. They actually moved out of there. They're with Uniane at the moment while they're waiting for the build out. I don't know when the switch went down or why it switched over, but I was reading up on that when I saw the announcement for their going to the new location, and so I was like, oh, when did they move out of Slapshot? But yeah, they're at Uniane, and that makes sense. I mean, that the story, and we brought it up last week. Uniane is really trying to go through an economic revitalization. That's why they brought out a new brand, Hubbard's Cave.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they've got a second brand name.
Yeah, and actually I've got a couple of the beers down in the basement.
Oh, really?
So
The Hubbard's Cave one, or
yeah,
oh, I didn't even
yeah.
think that was being produced yet. I thought that
Oh
was
yeah.
still in works.
No, that is going out, and I haven't tasted it yet, but people were buying it up at our local craft beer store. I mean, the craft beer store was going through. I think they had two varieties of an imperial stout. One was vanilla, one was coffee, and the vanilla, at least initially, was just blowing out the door. So.
And now the Hubbard's Cave, is that more of your standard styles? Because I know Una Nee's more of a Belgian style, right? Or like Farmhouse Saison.
Right. No, that's definitely more their Belgian inspired. Is the Uni Ane or Ani and the Hubbard's Cave. I don't know if you'd call it American styles, but it's definitely stuff where they're not bound by that same philosophy. You know, like they're going to do an IPA. They've got an MP stout. They're not going to be, you know.
I mean, you got to make money. I mean, those are the styles that sell right now, and unfortunately, there's those are the ones that get some of the newer people in craft beer into your brewery as well. So I get it. It's a
That makes
cool,
sense.
and it's a cool way to do things. I mean, Stone's been doing it. They have all those. I forget the names. You can recognize the bottles like immediately, and you know that they're Stone beers, but they don't have the Stone name on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Does Stone, is it based in California, right?
Right.
Yeah, and well, they have a brewery out in Germany now too,
Right.
Oh,
and they have an East Coast facility yet.
They are. I don't know if it's open yet, but I know that was in the works. I can't remember where it was because I know that was a big thing around the same time as the German announcement. Because I know they did that episode of Brew Dogs, and they went to that location, I believe, or Greg was doing it, or I don't know. But Greg he's stepping down as the CEO, isn't that going into effect yet? I can't remember if that had occurred or.
I don't know. I mean, I know the announcement came out. I don't know if that was him announcing the actual step down or basically announcing his intention to
I think it was just a
pending
plan
getting a new guy on board or new gal or
Yeah, because I subscribed to their YouTube channel and I remember that video popped up and I was like, whoa, when is this happening? That's crazy.
Yes, it is. But no, I think it's a smart move. I mean, Stone is big enough that, and I think there are a number of places like this that the business model changes completely, and you might not be the best guy to do that anymore. And
that's what he was saying in the video. He, it was more of like, hey, I loved beer when I started this company, and we grew a great company now, and we want to do right to all our employees, and I think as big as we are, we need to have somebody that's more experienced with running a company this size to go. So he's he's not like leaving the company or anything, but he's just stepping down as that the head honcho basically.
Right.
I know about the Stone IPA. What other and the Stone go to IPA? What other styles of beers? I mean, they have out there. I'm sure it's like a jillion. So,
oh yeah.
The Enjoy by IPA that they
Enjoy
put out
by.
every once in a while. Have you had that one yet?
No, I haven't had that one. I have had their original IPA. Yes.
The Enjoy by is amazing. Get it if you get your hands on it. It's when it's fresh, it's pretty strong too. It's like 9%.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big beer.
But it's amazing. It's so good. I get my hands on it every time I can.
Now, my comment right now, guys, with Rate Beer, the site, and I'm sure you probably y'all know what it is. I mean, do you feel they're somewhat biased or biased towards the craft guys, and then sort of kind of really hammer on some of the macros like Bud and Miller Coors and how they rate beers? Because I was having a discussion with a couple of guys earlier, and I kind of feel that why don't we just let the people drink the beer and sample the beer, and then let them be the deciding factor if it's good or not? Because some of the ratings that I look at on their site, for certain beers that I've had, whether it's the macros or whether it's a craft, whatever, they'll hammer it or they'll praise it. And it's like, are they really, 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 really giving this beer a real fair due, a fair shake? And then and I'm sure Beer Advocate, they're pretty reasonable, but I just feel that Rate Beer tends to be somewhat biased towards the craft guys. Am I right or wrong?
I don't, hey Skylar.
Looks like Skylar's at work.
Yes, you are.
Hey Skylar.
I mean, to answer your question real quick, those rating sites usually are aggregate rating sites that have people just signing in and giving their reviews. So it is kind of People's Choice Awards. Those places.
Okay.
But there's I mean, if you go to any sort of predominantly craft beer area, you're gonna see the macros beat the shit out. I mean, it's just gonna happen. So.
And I have my opinions on both Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. In any of those types of sites. When I even do Untapped, I don't even like review beers. I just kind of check them in to for me to remember which beers I've had. I don't even rate them at all. It's annoying because I mean I'm sure it's important to the brewer. Skylar, how important are those sites to you guys? Do you guys use that information a lot, or do you kind of use it, see it as a grain?
I feel like those type of websites used to be important. They used to serve a huge purpose, but with craft beer being as prevalent as it is now than it was back then, it's more about personal preference rather than it being is it good beer or is it bad beer. And I feel like someone's personal preference can get in the way. If you're a person who always has to check Rate Beer or check Beer Advocate before you buy a beer, I feel like you're missing out because someone else's taste in beer may not be your own. And, for that purpose, a few years ago I started, I'll use sites like that, but I won't rate it from a term of like 1 to 5. It'll be more like, these are the kind of flavors I get from the beer, and these are the notes I pick up from the beer, but I'm not going to give hey, this is a good beer or a bad beer. It might be a bad beer to me, but it might be a good beer to you. So yeah, it's certainly changed its purpose over the years.
I also feel those sites have given people entitlement to trash a beer as much as they can. Regardless of the fact that maybe their tastes are different than everybody else's. Like you're saying, that's what drives me nuts, is when people think that their opinion is the solid definition of that beer, when everyone might not even taste the same thing as what you're tasting. Like this particular sour, tart, infected Bourbon County coffee beer. I don't mind it as much. Some people might hate this infected beer, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on over there at the brewery? It sounds like there's a lot of people over there. Are you in a tasting room, or what are you doing?
Actually, I'm not at the brewery at all right now. I'm at a distillery down the road from me, and whenever I'm not at the brewery, I'm usually over here. And so yeah, we were having a fun night doing some stuff, but yeah, I figured I'd check in, just talk to y'all because I have a lot of business-related stuff going on Wednesdays now. So I miss hanging out with you guys and all that. As a matter of fact, I am currently being called to report back on a game of Jenga. That is work-related stuff now. So
is this team building exercises?
Yes, it is. This is my version of filling in TPS reports. So,
I'm envious of your job, sir.
Next week I will be in for the full day, but I gotta say bye to y'all for now.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Y'all have fun.
Thank you, man. Take care.
All right, Scott. Be good.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we may not have a show next week because I've got an in-law from California in town that is staying with us, and the baby may be sleeping in this room during the time that we would be doing the show. So it'll be up in the air. I'm probably thinking it's not going to happen next week, but
yeah,
we'll see, depending on what the schedule is going to be as far as when we're getting an in-house guest for the week. So, but I did acquire my old wheel toy here, so now
okay.
I got it back. I stole it back from the baby.
This is why we need Skylar back on, because he needed the applause button right there.
Oh, I could do that. Okay. No, but so we can pick styles if we want to for the following week. I mean, we can pretend like it's going to be next week, but like I said, it's probably not going to be until the week after. But we'll find out. Did I mess up here? Oh, here we go. I found it. I was like, where does Skylar go for this? I don't, man, I haven't turned this thing on forever, so I don't even know if it's gonna have the wheel pulled up.
It's just gonna be like the noise machine thing. You're like looking at it, turn it off.
I mean, that's the only thing that's ever been on this. So, what do we want to throw on? Because
God, it's been long enough. I don't even know what's still on there.
I know.
That's a good question. Let's take a look here. It hasn't even been on the network for probably like 4 months.
Oh my God!
So it's trying to figure out what the internet is right now. But anyway, so how's that beer that you opened up with the coffee, Jean-Pierre?
The one I just opened up, the George Roy Bean. It has a little bitter finish in the end. It was basically, I mentioned, I said it smells like cocoa than coffee, but it did have that coffee feel going down with it. It wasn't as sweet as I thought it was going to be, but it has that little coffee finish in the end. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's great. Most of my styles tend to be more stronger.
Okay.
Which is kind of how I like it. At 5.1. I guess, like I said, one I've had before, and I'll make it just for my birthday coming up in later this month. Would probably be a treat for me, but it's a bit costly, but I think it's deserving so, since it is my birthday. The 1050 by All-Star Blues, and I really, really love that. I've had it twice, and I think it's probably one of the best Russian Imperial styles I've ever had.
That
beer ages really well too.
Yeah.
Nice. I have to try that.
And now that you mention that beer, I never knew this, but I was listening to a podcast that I frequently listen to regarding craft beer, and as far as IBUs goes, did you guys know that beer is 100 IBUs?
No, really?
Did not know that. Did not know that.
Yeah, that's just got to be such a grain bomb that
Exactly.
they can pop the hell out of it.
Because the debate on the show is like IBUs is kind of stupid and pointless to list. It's almost like when you're looking at food and you're looking at like, well, this has blah 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 grains of salt. Okay, what does that mean? What does that taste like in regards to all the other stuff that's in there? So like IBUs is like one component of like all the rest of the other ingredients of the beer. So like I was like, 100 IBUs in that beer? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But and I didn't look it up, but I took it for what they said. But I thought that was pretty interesting that beer had that much hop profile in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, and it's weird. Smooth. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna. It's weird too because listing it is deceptive almost at a certain point, because really it's about the balance of flavors in there.
Yep.
And you can't put a number. It's not like the grain number and then the grain IBU ratio number. You'd have to list so many damn numbers. You'd go nuts. But yeah.
That's a great beer, Jean-Pierre, and it's also like like I said, it's a good one that ages, because not only is it strong and everything, but it's in a can, so like There's no air,
Right.
no air is getting in there, no lights getting in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I get a 4-pack of that, I usually cut it in half. I'll take 2 in the fridge, 2 in the closet. I've got
Yeah.
I think I got 2 14s and 2 15s in the closet right now.
Oh, that
Is
reminds
it
me.
the size? It's 12-ounce and 16-ounce cans, right?
I think just 12.
12.
They might
Okay,
have-
yeah.
they
I've
might
seen them
have
12-ounce
16 ounces
cans.
now.
Okay.
You know what
They
they're
might
doing?
have updated.
They're doing. They might be doing both because I've seen
Yeah.
Oscar Blues is doing a lot of those 16-ounce cans, or they're doing like the what do you call them?
Like the stovepipe. The stovepipe cans, like the 24 ounces or something like that.
Yeah, so they're doing those with like the pinner. I've seen that with
Yep.
the Mama's Little Yellow Pills. They did it with the Hot Box, which is their new coffee stout.
Yep.
But they're also doing 4-packs of 12-ounce cans of that one as well. I haven't had that one yet, but I'm hearing really good things about it. So I might have to get that one this week.
Yeah, it's just a great beer, and like I said, it's a perfect nightcap beer. I mean, if you want to say a dessert beer, you could pair it with some, butter pecan or maybe vanilla ice cream. If you drink, or just a nightcap by itself. It's just an excellent Russian Imperial Stout. And first time I tried it, I was like, man, this is good.
That's a good birthday beer.
Exactly, and then that's what I will be getting on the 26th of this month. My
Sounds
birthday.
good.
That'll be my birthday gift for me.
All right.
All right, so here's what we got on the wheel. We got wild card, collaboration, anything local to you, a beer you can't pronounce, strange ingredient, milk stout, brown ale, anything that's corked and caged, 13% or higher, a Goza, Saison, sour, coffee beer, cider, anything dry hopped, lawnmower beer or anything 5% or lower. Kolsch pumpkin beer, I think we could take that one off.
Yeah, that's a full wheel. I mean, that's going back a ways too. So there's some stuff on there.
Yeah,
that,
beer with pecans, a beer you hate, and a white whale, which is something that's like a huge release that everyone kind of flocks to that wants.
Right.
Do we just want to go with that, or do we want to add anything to that with where we're at in the year?
It's a long list.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to add a barley wine to this, but we don't have to.
If I can get a barley wine,
I'm putting it on there.
So
I'm putting it on there just to say we added something to the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I see what you did there.
It's not because of the Bourbon County either, because I've got plenty of barley wines in the closet that I would like to.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's because you like barley wines.
I sure do.
Which is okay.
All right, here we go.
Hi.
We're going to spin this wheel.
All right, the wheel spins.
What are we at here? What do we land on?
Beer you can't pronounce.
Beer you can't pronounce. I will do it.
Nuts.
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good. So,
Hello.
Hello. So we'll shoot for next week if we can, but it's unlikely. But we will. If it's not next week, we'll do the following week after that. Sounds good.
All right. We'll say hi, Danielle. Say good night.
Hello, good night.
Hello.
Good
How are
night.
you? Welcome to our beer show.
She's taking over my controls.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, have a good night, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you next week.
All right.
Yeah. Take care.